Pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm glad we record these things. I want to see what Bill looks like 6 months from now. We're gonna have to look back and refer and be like, wow, okay. That'll be I haven't written a blog post this year, so I'm gonna wait 6 months. My first blog post will be, Bill Slosky, after the move, and we're gonna see how Californianized you are, and I'm gonna write a whole post about it.
That could happen.
The transcoastal transformation.
Uh-huh.
I think Bill looks fine. It's good to see his face again.
Thank you, Marge.
So yeah, Bill, that thing this morning from Toronto Sun or whatever, that just looked like exactly what it was. Yeah, as far as in the news stuff.
Yeah, that's been happening for a while. My site's been showing up with those.
Yeah.
September.
So what's their basic complaint that somehow this going to affect their brand and traffic? I don't know. I think someone's typing a brand or some sort of navigational site search. By and large, you're going to find the site you're looking for, unless you're looking for dirt or some sort of gossip. I don't know. We'll see how it works out, but it's not a lot different than it's just a different flavor of the news universal, isn't it? Really, that's all it looks like to me.
They're taking sources that weren't submitted and verified by Google News.
Google News, right?
They're making them news sources.
Yeah.
Well, that should end well.
That's sort of
hey, what's wrong with that?
No way to game that, right?
What's wrong with that?
Because it could go wrong in a hurry by not being trusted. Well,
Yeah.
I guess it depends, but Terry, really, it's also going to until somebody actually does fuck with it, I'm not going to go there, because maybe Google is applying trust scoring and so on to what it is using that hasn't been submitted to Google News. Because if you've ever tried getting sites into Google News, it's a pain in the ass anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's such a fucking pain in the ass.
What do you think I've been doing with hashtag crap? You got to get the hashtags in the news now.
So Terry, as long as we don't see the kind of fiasco you see with Google Suggest, like, is a scam, is a fraud, you know what I mean, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Unless it starts playing out like that, then, we'll see. For now, if they're still using trusted sources that just haven't bothered to submit to Google News, I think that makes sense for them. I mean, why should they limit themselves to webmasters or companies that they trust or, respect the information from that just haven't bothered to put themselves into Google News? Why not?
And it would kind of make sense too, Dave, that they would only be taking those superfluous entries from trusted sites.
Yeah, until someone games it, I can say, we can all sit here and say it could end badly, but we'll see how it ends.
What do you mean by gaming it?
Well, trying to get ORM guys. Mr. Guerin, sir, could you explain how this might go wrong?
Well, I know how it can go wrong. I just want to know what you mean by gaming it.
Well, trying to get sites to show up in there.
For instance, if I'm Lumber Liquidators and, 60 Minutes just did a documentary on how my floor, I might want to put up a site, which they did, to kind of dispute that. If it's on your domain, it might show up. Just saying.
Or you could pay someone that you think has a trustable name that you see in there a lot. It becomes the new. I hate to do this there, Bill, but facts become the new links.
Right.
anyways, but no, yeah. If you saw a site, because SEOs aren't stupid, they'll start to see sites that are showing up in these things on a regular basis, and you could go and pay someone over there to do something positive, right, Terry?
Let's put it this way. As soon as they say you can do it, there will be SEOs who try to do it, just to prove they can do it. I mean, it's like dangling the fucking carrot in front of a donkey.
Pretty much.
The donkey's going to keep moving, trying to catch the carrot.
So yeah, it could end badly, Steve. I'm telling you, man.
The main way
I'm thinking it will end badly.
What was that, Emma?
The main way people game the news type algorithms is keep on updating the release date so that it keeps floating back to the top as a new article.
No, that's never happened. Is that possible? For those listening, believe me, he's lying. No. Well, that's green room stuff, man. Stop that.
Trying to manipulate the document inception date and take advantage of query deserves freshness.
Never. Who was it, Glenn Elsop, who was messing with that for a while out there?
So if we treat these
Steve is pretending he can't hear us.
Hey, Bill, I've got it down to about 4 seconds.
What's that?
I've got it down to about 4 seconds. When you get PDF right, it's about 4 seconds, and you can hit it every single time from a site. Anyways.
Okay, the two examples that Reuters used to show those off have been live news for weeks, and they're still showing in the news results. So
that's
they've
based
stuck
on
around for a while.
So Bill, what are you take from that? You're thinking that trust is more important than.
Anyways.
Well, what do you?
News results are answer boxes.
Right, but they're also based a lot on PR news sources' credibility and the construction and triangulation between those PR entities, because did you do a full-blown release? Did you do a half release? Did you do a limited release?
Right. What I was trying to suggest was that we look at answer box type treatment in Google search results rather than float around all over the place and make lots of assumptions.
Okay, somebody.
At one point, answer box results were showing off diversity results before Google was really heavily into universal search results. So they were like the what people in our industry referred to as vertical creep results.
Yeah.
Results from a different focused set of search results. A lot of times local search results, but sometimes other things like news. And they would show up at the top of a set of search results, and there would be certain types of criteria that would trigger their appearance.
A YouTube video, a Google Plus post, whatever, right?
Well, with the news type result, it would have to be very relevant for something that was going on right now and have to be very timely. So freshness was one ranking signal that triggered those.
ABC, CBS, CNN, those three letters in the domain name also trigger the same thing as well.
Maybe, but the unique thing about these in the news results is that they don't have to be an actual news source.
Right.
Well, yeah. I was saying, my website is showing up for a lot of in the news results
because of your author rank.
Because good God!
I haven't checked my author rank.
Don't do it, man.
Someone kick that guy out.
It was there before author rank.
News.
Hey, bud.
Is it like related to a brand mention?
But yeah, Bill, what I'm starting to think, again, I've only been looking at it today a bit, is that recency is taking a hit over authority. You know what I mean? That authority and segment, categorizations and classifications are somehow superseding the recency stuff. You know what I mean? QDF's great and all, but I still look back to, remember the original 06 set of historical ranking stuff? Remember that stuff? You know what I mean? All the different recent, things they use for temporality. So, to a degree, it looks like, again, stability. Again, this some reason
when you show up there, I bet you because you're the best.
People that aren't going to Google News, but they consider it. Well, if you get sources, regardless if it's a link citation, he can bother to stick his ass in Google's News. Why shouldn't we gravitate towards his site to add this too? Meaning the authority passes this way, and the recency's taking a hit. And of course, Google News is just slowly being thrown in the garbage. Yeah. So they'll just have a news tab that's actually part of the index and how they grade it. And putting yourself into Google News will no longer be a thing, man. That's I don't know. We'll see.
Would yours be like a technical reference, Bill, to a, say, for instance, an article in a major paper where you talked about the patent that they were discussing in their article? Is that when you would show up in the results?
Anytime I would write about a new patent that discusses a new process or way of doing something, like the last one I wrote about, which talked about user rankings and item scores for activity streams.
But what kind of queries were you doing that were producing the box? Meaning, were you searching the patent name, or what were you doing?
Or wording similar to the patent name, which is what I tend to title those posts anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's when they were showing up.
Yeah. There was one I wrote about. I found a patent that came out of the World Intellectual Property Organization, which described a wearable that would look for cancer cells in your bloodstream and help fight those off. And that got an in the news treatment too. That got covered by Wall Street Journal and a few others, but
did you test like lots of queries to see how far away from it you'd have to come before they disappeared, or?
Yeah, I was trying to get a sense of why the in the news box.
Yeah, why it's showing up times and not other times? Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And if there were certain terms that were like triggering that result. You know, you remember when?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. How far away do you have to get? Like, I'll have to check. I'll have to play with some. I'll grab them off you later, but I'd like to play with those and just slowly creep out the query more ambiguous to see when it drops out.
Well, I'm really interested in the answer box results. Like a month ago or so, there was a blizzard that supposedly was going to hit New York City. That was going to be historically the worst blizzard of all time in New York. And Google's emergency alert partners put out warnings for things like that. So if you search for New York City snowstorm, they gave you an alert box that gave you a blizzard warning.
I would even try it against the suggested results at the bottom of the page. You know what I mean? Click through on some of those and see if it's producing them as well, and at what point those, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I bet you it'd be a correlation there. So that'd be I'll have to play with that. This is what we do, folks, when we're bored on a Sunday morning over tea.
Like that?
I'm not working today. I'm going to go mess around with Google.
Google said that in some of the patents they've talked about what they call trigger terms, and the trigger term will set off an answer box result.
Right, that's why I was thinking that how far away from that core search that's working does one have to get ambiguity-wise till it drops out? You know what I mean? Because that's where the triggers are going to lie, right? So.
If on election day, if you put the word vote in a Google search box, it would show you the polling places near you where you could go vote. So sometimes it's topical. And
temporal, you know. So.
Yeah. Gotta hit the right time. If the emergency alert, if you've got the location right, like it's a snowstorm or blizzard in New York City, if you put New York, that might trigger the answer box. That might be enough.
Yeah, well, that's it.
So anytime you can get in something like Kim Kardashian's embarrassment into your content, you're going to fucking pop up in the news.
Or even location elements. You know what I mean? I remember we used to play around to just put in the word hockey in, and I'd have someone in this part of the states do it up here in Canada, et cetera, and you would see even that location elements that would pop up. That local teams, local AHL teams and stuff would be number one and pop up with the info box and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So even topicality plus location plus temporal, seems the way things are going.
Google does show something they've called enriched results. Not rich results, which are the result of putting schema on your pages, but rather the NFL pays them a certain amount of money per year to show rosters, for instance, for teams.
So you'd pay Google to have people not click through to your site. These guys are good. These guys are good, man. Google is awesome.
If you enrich Google's funds by paying, then you get the enriched results. Yeah.
And so which would give the person more information on the search page so they didn't have to click through. Great idea. They're good, man. I'm telling you, Eamon, it's a good business model.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember the paid feeds? years ago. Let's have a look
If
at
you put chestnuts roasting on an open fire and then the word lyrics in Google, you'll get not only the lyrics to the song, but you'll get
Kim Kardashian's divorce.
no links you can click on to.
You get Google Play to purchase the song. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I still think it's Ori Allen's dream come true. Like somewhere Ori Allen is just sitting there going, "Yeah, I told you. I told you 10 years, 12 years ago, man." Yeah, I don't know, dude. Yeah, it's no click searching. It's no click searching, man. It's coming. I don't know if people should freak out as much as they do, because I found myself, recently searching for non-SEO stuff, just general life stuff, and getting the box with the information, but it wasn't quite enough. Like, it was something when I was fixing my computer, and it wasn't. I still clicked through. You know what I mean? Even though the information was in part there, I still wanted to read through because I want to see what the comments on it are and this and that. Like, in comments, people say, "No, it didn't work. Oh, try this, try that." And, I still found myself clicking through.
Give you the first 5 steps in a how-to 10-part. How to make a martini. Get glass. Add ice. It's shake. Yeah.
Shaken, not stirred.
Right.
Well, you have to write for the least common denominator.
So,
Go
somebody shared a link in the dojo today. For what was it?
The Moz link.
Yeah, what was that? What was the
relevant? Your link, your content link should be relevant.
How to update an answer box?
No. Rand's Whiteboard Friday today was about the question, and I have not watched it because I'm pretty sure I had my answer. Are relevant links more important than links in general? Was Whiteboard Friday something along those lines?
Well,
I distinctly stated in the dojo chat room that this was unequivocally wrong, and I'm going to send a lot of bagger links towards the Moz from now on, because relevance of the links doesn't matter.
It's a proverbial no-brainer, but not everybody gets it.
I haven't watched
That's
it.
the problem. You got to give that information over there because they're a bunch of stomp. Mozambique, to be exact.
Captain Obvious.
Captain Obvious. No, sorry, he's not sponsoring this one. So.
Right. So, anyways.
I don't know. I got into a debate once with somebody who wanted to write a guest post on my site, and they were yammering at me about, well, I can have, a link every, 50 words, so-and-so says so. And I just said, no, you can't just toss links into your post because you want to. They have to be relevant.
Wikipedia does it. I got that once.
Oh, well, that's a good example.
Jeez.
Yeah, come back when you're at the top of every listing like Wikipedia and we'll talk.
Hey, even then.
I see our Santa Ana winds are beginning up here. Are you seeing them yet out there, Doc?
Nope. Got some sunshine. I'm happy at least with that. That's better than we've had.
I don't know if it's going to get super hot, but it's windy. Anyhow, yeah. Doc and I did a presentation with Carol Tice's Writers Den once on, links. Of course, the whole presentation was, sort of a nightmare because it was, but, Doc had some really good advice, and, not everything needs to be a link. It doesn't have to be a link. You can still get the message, the main thought through, and you can still rank an article without putting links every 5th word. It's just stupid. People are just stupid sometimes.
Context is king.
You have one link in the footer and the about section of a press release. Don't put it anywhere in the rest of the article.
Well, I mean, if the link is relevant and, adds value to the discussion that you're having in the post, great, put it in.
Well, the other thing is, if you put a bunch of links in the body text, you can't reprint that article just like that. You got to call out the links, and most editors will just pass on that stuff.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's very true. Links don't render to text. They don't. They're meaningless.
So.
Yes.
All right, so Bill, speaking of things that the community loves to run away with, apparently links are also dead. So I don't know why Rand's even talking about it, because I'm pretty sure it was like 10 days ago that Rand was telling us that facts are the new links.
Yes.
So it's curious, Terry.
What?
Terry, facts are the new links. Facts, not because remember that paper, the scientific, no, sorry, the coverage of the paper. And then I saw you writing about it on G+, and so I started, okay, what is this? So yeah, apparently facts are the new links, Bill. Because something's got to be the new links every month or two. So,
I like the Google Knowledge Vault team, who are the ones who wrote that, because they're a bunch of proteges of the higher level search engineers at Google. People like Alon Halevi, who's the head of structured data at Google, and the guy who's in charge of the web tables team, and Ramanathan Guha, who started Google custom search engines.
Ah, yes.
These folks are like their proteges, and they're coming up with some interesting things. Now the Knowledge Vault stuff is a way to try to correct more than knowledge facts and stuff like that come out of Google Knowledge Graph. If you remember,
and just for everybody watching or listening to this later on, that's facts, FACTS. Emmett. Look at the comments. Look at the comments.
I'm sure
Bill.
that SEJ would have put out the thing that LinkedIn facts are the new. Everyone send a fax with a link in it.
Oh God.
Don't laugh too loud. I've had people try to click a link in a notepad document, and the link doesn't work. It's a notepad.
I'm already planning on extracting the last 2 minutes of conversation into its video of its own and sending it to Lauren. Anyways,
I got an
hey,
email
dude.
from somebody last week, and I had tried to attach a document and send it to them, a signed document. And the person said, well, I didn't get your document. You must not have attached it. You can fax it to me. I'm thinking, okay, when's the last time I've seen a fax machine? Where would I go do that? Do I go on do something?
J2.
Dude.
I actually have a
Revenue
functioning
does
fax
most
machine.
of their work with fax, Bill.
I remember when people used to spam faxes, and you get incoming faxes out of nowhere.
I have a toll-free number that doubles as a fax line, and I still think this is from a contract point of view. I still think contracts need to have a date and timestamp on them to be valid. So that's what I use it for.
So anyways, Bill, we did have some meaningful discussions about all this with the gang over the last few weeks, and sure, I can see yet another layer of the onion and things going on in how knowledge and facts, and obviously that's a place they like to go. And then, of course, I had people show me articles of the conspiracy theorists that were like, now Google's the arbiter of all facts, and so there's all these different sides to that discussion. But at the end, the one thing I'm pretty sure is that it's not like the new links, and that we joked Ammon that the Moz will come out with a fact tool now that will go out and check the top 10 results of any SERP your client is in and look for common facts. Oh, now it's not the repurposed LDA tool they shut down. Oh, maybe it is. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, it'll be coming soon.
If facts are the new links, does that mean they're no longer going to be doing any of the ranking factor surveys?
I'm guessing they
I've got
probably
to be
will
negative
somehow.
SEO if facts are the new links.
The ranking factors apply within the facts.
So anyways, I understand the concept of aligned knowledge. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean? Because we were even talking about, even if you look at like some of the Google Rater stuff for addresses, meaning, okay, and somehow this feeds into trust and authority, that if you find different addresses as the Google Rater, you're supposed to put less trust in it. If you search for this company and you find entity or navigational information on multiple sites that have the same location information, then it's supposed to get a higher trust score, right? So, you look at how they guide the raters and that kind of thing. So sure, I can see to a degree that factual information to some level, having consistency with other things in their knowledge base and other websites and that tied to that, I could see this being some kind of scoring. But how this would ever just totally destroy the whole page rank concept, I don't get it.
Google has admitted that they're in full support of direct answers, the search results. They said that in their 10K financial statement for last year.
But
Rather
my,
than
The problem
focus
is,
on 10 blue links, a lot of times they want to save searchers time looking through all those pages that are listed.
Oh yeah,
my,
it's the
my,
L'Oreal on
my,
stuff, man.
my grumble/conspiracy theorist about that is, they're relying on their database of facts, and what if something new comes in and it's not in there? Does that instantly make that content lose credibility because they don't have it
Well,
recorded?
no, but something new would probably still be graded and looked at. I think more of the risk is in that certain voices of dissension that might be valuable would be lost. Like
Yes,
how many historical characters can we all know that, for those of us that like history, were considered crazy, or were considered outside the norm, or were considered
I
socially
agree.
outcast, and it turned out that they were true. You know what I mean? The world is fucking round. Oh my God. So is that kind of information going to get lost through those kind of algorithmic decisions? And that's kind of where I get a little more concerned.
Well, that and they themselves said in the paper that they actually found that their biggest concern was not so much in the factual nature of the data, but in their ability to extract that.
I think
So
that
at least they recognize that.
I think Bill wrote something about a patent a while back that's what it was to do, right, Bill? Add new facts and kind of figure out a way to verify those. Identify new facts and add them to the knowledge base.
Well, the previous Knowledge Vault papers talk about that a lot. And if you looked at any of the citations in that knowledge-based trust paper, they described a number of approaches that they use to try to verify facts correctly. How black hole works from Reader's Digest. Or maybe you do.
Maybe you do.
Yeah.
I guess, I'd qualify that by saying depends on who published the article in Reader's Digest, because it could be a credible author.
Yeah, there was something the other day about how they would rank that stuff too. The stream stuff, right, Bill? They were looking at ranking people in streams.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the streams. Boy, I'm gonna fail on that because I hardly ever log in.
Steve, here's your chance. Say it.
Yeah, well, I know somebody, Doc, and I know somebody who will do well because they chime in on everything.
Mm-hmm. So when Google recently updated all their direct answers on medical questions, they consulted with people from the Mayo Clinic
Yep.
and Google's doctor and some other people, and they tried to verify the facts behind those more than had been done just by looking at lots of other sites about the same thing and seeing if the facts corroborated each other. I think that's the future.
That's algo verification, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, something along those lines, Bill. I heard on the news this morning, Apple's new wearable has a thing for getting people to do clinical stuff for drugs and that. The app brought in more people than it took Stanford University. It would have taken them a year to get this many people into this clinical testing.
Right.
The app on iPhone did it in less than a month.
Did it in the morning.
Oh, was it a morning?
It was a morning. Yeah.
7 in the morning when I watched it. So
Yeah.
my memory, I just remember bits and pieces. That's why whenever I say stuff like that, go verify it, folks.
One of the early BBSs, the Cleveland Freebase, Freenet. Sorry, we got Freebase on our
Freebase was a different group.
Yeah, Freebase is a whole different topic.
Yeah, well, he's in California now, so
Yeah,
it's
one
you
of
know.
the first guest was a doctor, and they blew up their BBS computer systems, their servers and all. So IBM bought them new servers, which was a smart move. But yeah, some topics get a lot of traffic.
Sorry, just seeing what crazy Steve was doing there.
Well, I mean, you see the screen, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's your answer box tweaked out to the max.
Oh, it's more common with us old folks, huh?
I don't know about you. I don't get PTSD. I give it.
My whole life's been a post-traumatic stress.
Scroll down a bit there, Steve. Scroll down there just a hair.
From the day I was born, it's all been a stress.
Oh God.
I don't know. Life is what we make it, I guess. Yep, I agree, Steve. But that's kind of a nifty little search result, though. PTSD.
Look at
That's a factured search result.
people haven't
Beg
been
your
talking
pardon?
much about Bing's.
Factured search result.
Just because I'm a funny guy, just sent random invite.
Yeah, type in psychopath, see what shows up there. Never mind.
Well, I should invite fucking John Mueller while we're at it. Why not?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, good. Now we're getting into the costumes. That works.
It's Black Mask SEO. He's taking it to a new level. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, he got up and walked away.
Oh well.
Walk away.
Going out to rob the store on the corner.
Yeah, we've started a different hangout altogether here now.
You got your Mr. Potato Head nose on too?
Now the NSA is doing a zoom on the screen here to see if they can find it.
Christ.
Do we know this guy?
No news today. Okay, I'll keep my day job.
Oh, that's funny. All right, so what else is new, boys?
Well, just
What do you
back
have,
to the
man?
medical thing, Bill. Do you think that this foray by Google will, exceed top their results over places like WebMD and Mayo Clinic?
Okay.
I think we were seeing more WebMD results in the past. That was more like the Reader's Digest version of medical news.
Okay.
And using sources like the CDC or Mayo Clinic is maybe more fact-based, verifiable answer type results.
Yeah, I was looking at some stuff for some personal things, obviously, and this week, and yeah, WebMD was like below the fold actually. So.
Well, there's very generic. I think it's written for people who don't understand medicine, but. Okay. I'm just wondering, Google is going to have their own medical database. All right. I used to go to Mayo Clinic specifically if I wanted stuff.
To any of you folks watching, you really should just join the room because all the good stuff's over here in the chat.
That's because Steve is entertaining us, huh?
Oh my goodness. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Bill.
Yes.
Since you're here, I was on my thing of notes to discuss today, and since you're here, I don't have to. So yeah, actually, on this moments ago.
Bill looks like he's gotten some California
Cool.
sunshine.
There we go.
Hey,
Oh
that
my
was
God.
good stuff. Get that back in the 60s. That was really good. California sunshine. All
I
right,
really-
baby.
There you go. That work?
Montana claimed the least obese state.
Apparently, I gotta bring it up in Chrome because.
Montana is the least obese state. Well, they're always out climbing the hills and doing Montana things. Hunting.
All right, so Bill.
Yes.
Streams. Touch on this.
Dude, somebody's back.
Streams.
Mr. Roboto just showed up there, David. What did you say?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're just getting really good. Your post went Manhattan because I don't know, I was or something. What's happening?
Mr. Roboto.
Lost me. I'm getting major lag here, so
Yeah, okay.
yeah. I'm trying to load Bill's article, and apparently my hillbilly internet's not happy. Could be the fact that March break has already started, and my kids are both playing online games.
Oh, well, okay. Sharing bandwidth is a problem. You have to kick them off when you're having a hangout.
The
Good
user,
luck with that.
the user stream
They're teenagers. I doubt that's going to happen.
blog post I wrote.
I understand.
Somebody had mentioned that one in Google Plus, and I went and
All
looked
right.
at it.
So yes, the user streams.
And the thing that surprised me was that they started talking about activity streams. And that was something that people were saying, Google Plus is dying. Look at this, they're splitting it into things like photos and streams. And it sounds like it's all ad hoc. Well, they wrote the patent 2 years ago. So if it's ad hoc, they plan their ad hoc ahead by 2 years.
They're not going to change the name from Google Plus. It's too late. One of
Uh-huh.
those Streams is a division within Google that's working on whatever the hell Google Plus is going to be. But Google Plus isn't going to change. There's too much crap out there.
No.
To rebrand it now would be stupid.
Well,
I don't think they're rebranding it. I think they're just dividing it into two streams like Facebook. I mean, seriously, I really don't want those big-ass pictures in my stream at all. So, fucking move it.
All
I'm
right, so
glad
Ben,
they
they
made the
couldn't call it
change.
news feeds, and they couldn't call it EdgeRank. So they called it activity streams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just segmenting it. It's not going to change dramatically.
Makes it easier to segment it into the two different types of search for those products too, doesn't it?
Yeah, the other thing is if you hashtag your posts and then go back after the fact and see what Google automatically tags things you post and see if you guessed the right tag that Google may have used for your post. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. To see how Google tags stuff. Like,
Yes. See how it
like I wrote
understands the
something
topic
on-
of what you wrote about. Yeah.
yeah, my guy wrote something on repurposing content, made the mistake of calling it recycling content, and
Ooh.
guess what the hashtag was?
Recycle.
You got her.
Jesus. Brain fart.
Well, I try to explain as much as I can to him. He doesn't do a bad job for.
So Bill, what are some of the ranking mechanisms, etc.? Like I was listening to some of the guys talk earlier, I don't know, last summer, some of the engineers, and they were talking about as far as qualifiers and signals and mechanisms with Google Plus, and a lot of it was very echoed a lot of the sort of the social graph stuff, meaning not only who shares something, or he also talked about how often someone was resharing things. Meaning, if I comment on and reshare upon your Google Plus things, I'm more likely to see your stuff in the future. Whereas the opposite was true in the way they described it as well. That if someone isn't responding, kind of like Facebook's thing, but not as restrictive, that the more interactions you had with a given person in your social network and their posts, the more likely you are to see them in your stream, and it would, was ranking things along those lines.
Right, your interactions, pardon me, your interactions with other posts and other people may influence what you end up seeing and what everybody ends up getting when they do a search.
Right.
So,
Even Matt gave an example of Gmail, and which was kind of creepy. But he said, think about it in Gmail. If an email comes in from this person between 9 and 5, and you answer it almost right away, whereas these other emails. I mean, this email is more valuable. Oh, no, am I here now?
Yeah, the patent mentions freeze time decay a couple times, even though I didn't write about that in the blog post because I was trying to think about the best way to actually include it as a ranking signal, and they don't make that one easy.
Decay or latency?
But if you respond to somebody's post, if you comment, if you share, if you endorse it somehow, the amount of time that it takes to do that sort of signal
shows importance or your interest in a person based upon that.
Right, and they mentioned that the suggestion feature, they might use that ranking score for an individual in a stream to recommend who might be good people to follow, based upon some type of like influencer.
And I would assume, given what we used to when we took apart the social graph API, when we had access to it, contacts of contacts in those layers would probably play into something like that, meaning suggesting a person that you seem to trust to some of your followers that you seem to trust.
Number of validators classified by Google in certain industry to be X that follow you back versus verified profile versus non-verified profile.
Well, we used to play with Terry, remember the social graph API back in the day Google had? When it was accessible, it would show you contacts of contacts, and that was even from Gmail, remember, Terry? You know, so-and-so is a friend of so-and-so, and they got that from Gmail contacts, not even the social graph itself, because they kind of include your contacts into that. You can literally get suggestions of a friend of a friend.
That's what the porn spammers have been exploiting on Google Plus and YouTube. Because they go and they follow a bunch of accounts, and because they follow a bunch of accounts, their accounts are relevant to that artist, and so therefore you search for a particular, say, musical artist, and porn pops up.
Steve, Bill, was that just about content itself, meaning how it's shared and propagated and when it appears, or did it have an element of connections of people too?
They don't lay out a lot of the important stuff in the patent. They don't talk about like a friend of a friend.
It was one of those short ones then, was it? I have to look at it.
A lot of repetition. You know, they provide 3 ranking factors for what might go into a user's score. And that's whether or not you comment on things, if you share them, if you endorse them.
Bill, do you think it's
endorsing a +1 basically, or what's endorsement?
Yeah.
You've got sharing. So that would be the share feature. You've got +1, which is an endorsement.
Also posting to your stream.
And commenting.
Right.
My question.
Makes sense.
I have a question. Like,
do you have them in?
How they do these
circles?
Steve.
Go ahead.
Terry's got the talking stick. Go ahead, Terry.
What I was wondering about is, we know that they can do these things, but you got to wonder, after seeing the fiasco that Facebook has become, I don't think they're ever going to not show me something from somebody that I follow. If they did, they're bigger idiots than I thought, because that's my biggest problem with Facebook. If I follow someone, I don't want them to decide.
No, Terry, and I'll let Bill talk to the patent in a second. But the interviews with the engineers that I was listening to and watching, essentially, like, imagine you've got maybe like Facebook. I've got 300 people on Facebook, so imagine if you don't have a lot of people, your timeline's going to be very boring, right? So there's just not a lot of stuff surfacing. So they were kind of talking about ways to beef up the timeline by using these kind of factors and so on and so on. That literally, if you are reading and sharing a lot of Bill stuff, and I didn't know Bill, once in a while Bill's stuff's going to show up my timeline, even though I'm not following him. So it's almost a bit the opposite than Facebook. So I never heard them talk about limiting what you see. It was more about prioritizing and even friend of a friend stuff like the social graph API.
So it'd be like something you shared in Bill's, and they think, well, I think Terry will be interested in that as well.
Right. That's the way that the engineers were talking about what they were doing.
That's kind of like Google deciding they're going to share something with your people.
And their goal was to increase
that you may not. That could be bad or it could be good. Again, I could see bad things coming from that.
Right,
One of the things that they aren't doing, and maybe they should consider it, is paying more attention to an interest graph. paying more attention to the things that you actually show and your interest in, and showing you more of those things in the stream that you get.
Well, that's kind of what you're getting now, though, Bill. I mean, they're saying
It's not,
you're
it's not,
interested in Bill Slawski, and Bill Slawski is interested in hot rods. Therefore, we think maybe you might be interested in hot rods. You know.
No, they did. We even talked about cross-referencing that stuff, Doc, meaning that if only relevant topics. Again, so just because you're a friend of mine, if I don't ever share or plus or whatever automotive stuff, then it's going to negate that as a topical, correlation between us. But if I'm constantly sharing SEO stuff and you're sharing SEO stuff, and something you're sharing is of a person with a high enough influencer on the social graph that they think I might be interested in it, then they're going to show me because we have that personalization categorization in common.
Sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Hey,
No, they
Dave,
did actually
to
talk
that,
about
I would add that if you ever shared a car article that Bill had written, I think they might also do that in that case as well, because you're kind of showing that you think Bill is an expert in cars. That a possibility?
Well, I would think, Bill, there'd be more search history kind of stuff, meaning personalization at its core. If I start searching for cars all of a sudden and I start, reading about cars and things like that more often than potentially, but again, a lot of stuff I've read, they tend to categorize your interests as a user.
I don't think they categorize you down to one thing and one thing.
Yeah, again, I just read stuff and listen to interviews. I never tested any of that. So.
Right, we were talking about the friend of a friend interest graph, and there was Dan Brickley, the guy who's in charge of schema at Google right now, wrote a article a couple years ago that talked about interest graphs for friend of a friend type connections, and how people could indicate their interests using markup, and how sites could
classify themselves?
Could show that they contained information that appealed to those interests. And that might get those sites showing up in search results for those people. So that's how something like an interest graph might work for that. Same thing with a search on Google+. If there was a way to classify people's interests. And
yeah, and I've seen tons of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that would be based not on following certain people and following people with a higher user score or user rank who were considered influencers.
Yeah, the social profiler patterns on interest and stuff always worked in that building up the chain thing and more value to each user up that chain with common followers. So,
right.
Yeah.
So it doesn't focus upon topics. It doesn't have like an LDA.
No, come on, don't say that. Wow.
You use the L word.
I was building this new tool. I had this new tool and everything. Okay, not really.
What is anybody else's thoughts? I was thinking about this the other day. If I was Google, I would rank the kinds of engagement on Google+. For instance, a +1, I know people who fucking +1 everything. They just go down and +1 everything.
Yeah.
If they have to take the time to make a comment, that's worth more than a plus.
Well, sure, man. Look, Terry, but even the sense of the comment. Look at what we were when we were researching sentiment analysis papers and patents from Google. A lot of times if somebody only left you'd see this in multiple ones too, Bill. I don't know if you ran across it, but if they would cut out the bottom and the high and low, and for anyone in simplistic terms, it's like scoring figure skating or something, or gymnastics. That if somebody only left positive comments all the time, throw their value out. If somebody only left negative comments all the time, throw them out. They were really more looking for people that were balanced in between. So yeah, Terry, I would imagine it's the same kind of thinking. If someone's plussing everything they see, it might be a different trust scoring on that user.
Google released a white paper within the past couple of years on ratings and reviews, and they said some people are optimists. They give everything a 5-star rating, and they throw those out. Other people are pessimists and they give everything a 1-star rating, and they
So,
throw those out too.
Yeah.
Which actually, in a way, helps with those trying to manipulate. You know, what I mean, if you're paying someone to run around leaving negative comments with this user profile and vice versa, you know,
Yeah.
that's another good reason to do that.
And the other thing they were doing was looking to see how many times different people rated the same thing, either well or poorly, and
Or even
how.
in location, dude. I've read some of the spam fighting stuff for location, meaning if this guy's rating a hotel in Boston and 10 minutes later he rates a hotel in Philadelphia, there might be something going on there. That was it, Terry? Okay. Fine.
yeah, that was just that I was thinking about how, and to me, and also Ammon made a good point in the plus ones and comments are easily automated. Shares are a little bit tougher. Requires more
It's
than
one of those
just
things where the one system that used to be the best one, it's something that we used on a user-generated platform years ago that was all about reviews. We hand-picked a small seed set of reviewers that we knew were, really honest, really trustworthy, and then we started matching how people rated it compared to those to expand the set so that people who were trustworthy that we started with could then influence how we identified other trustworthy people.
As a big user-generated content site like ePinions or something.
Yeah.
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 Well, yeah. Again, I think that's a worthy way to go because once you have that baseline, you can compare incoming stuff to that baseline and what its value is going to be. You know.
Yeah. And it was a system. It was robust enough that we were able to reduce the number of editors needed for checking what opinions were coming in. Went down from 50 to 2 eventually because we just got the system so well automated that the trusted reviewers were basically, if 5 of them plus the thing, we knew it was legit and it could go to the wide audience rather than just the logged in users. If just 3 of them slated it, we knew it was definitely time to pull it back and it had to be reviewed by an editor.
the spammers and the spammies. Do this.
It's surprising how simple a system like that can be. The only problem is, of course, that we didn't have thousands of people creating thousands of fake accounts every day, and Google does have to deal with that.
Mm-hmm. And Google did come out with a patent where they talked about location-based services and verifying information from different accounts based upon things like if somebody seemed to be in one location part of the year and then their location-based services showed them traveling somewhere else and they added information like reviews of places from that location, it helped verify those reviews were more likely to be legitimate.
Yeah.
If somebody was in New England and they're rating restaurants in California, it may not be them.
The thing that is often the case, though, is somebody will register for one of these review sites and then suddenly think of some things that they'd always wanted to review and never got around to, and you can get holidays from 3 years ago that they're reviewing suddenly. So yeah, they're not there, but they're reviewing things all over the place because they've just registered. So you've also got to look at that.
Well, yeah, I think frequency would be a signal for spam too, because somebody who's being paid to run around and do shit is going to be on every day. You need a whole bunch of cell phones and Google accounts, man, to do it at a proper scale. I'm telling you. Bunch of IPs in your pocket, totally doable though.
Mm-hmm.
Proxy your way to heaven.
I saw somebody complain on Twitter once that he'd burned his favorite username because he hadn't updated the IP address it was putting things out from. And after you use it, and so he couldn't use that one anymore.
It's a dead persona. Dead
Possible
persona, man.
use on Facebook, and they wiped out your Facebook account.
No, that wouldn't happen, would it?
No. Client's happy.
No.
My account's gone.
Yeah, right.
You think I'm joking? I'm not.
What else happened this week? Guys, there's not as much drama anymore. So yeah, the last time we saw John Mueller, asked him what it was like to take over Matt Cutz's de facto job with the people that, you know, that SEO sit around trying to double second guess.
And
just
what did he
laughed.
say?
He laughed.
I always felt
I
so
was being
sorry for
facetious
Cutts.
anyways. It was more of a rhetorical thing.
I always felt so sorry for Cutts. He took it well, but I mean, Jesus, he was a target, you know, as Matt Cutts is evil. No, he's just a messenger. Get over it.
Well, there's
Yeah,
even people. There's even those that have, you know, tried to say that that's the reason he's backed away and everything else. You know, having known the guy so long and talked to him about what he does all day long, I would imagine, and I haven't talked to him since he left, but I would imagine there's more to do the rest of the job. Meaning he had to look at nasty porn and fucking horrible shit.
I'm
that
sure he
people do out there
did.
to make money. You know, dealing with SEOs was kind of easy compared to the stuff he actually has to look at and deal with all day long and shit. You know, so.
I have no doubt of that. The man was, I mean, he was, I don't know if anyone's a saint that's walking on the face of the planet, but he sure had to put up with a lot of crap.
Well, definitely, man. I met him over some weird porn shit that you know.
I'm
back
sure he
in
was
06.
compensated for it, though.
If
Yeah,
just
I'm
looking
sure
at
several $1 million would unmotivate
There
me.
you go. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he was compensated.
Oh yeah,
if just
that- well,
looking at porn and weird sick shit made you holy, you know, Steve would have a halo.
You just have to learn to roll past it, I guess. You know,
yeah,
it's
but,
hard to.
he took a lot of things to heart. You know, like he's always had a being monitor about the medical results and people getting bad medical advice and things like that. You know what I mean? So there is a lot of things that are more important to him personally, I think, or he took harder than just what SEO said. I don't think he lost a lot of sleep over us.
Yeah. I still remember the post where, you know, he finally, but just before he killed the blogging networks, and, you know, he had just had it with people, you know, spamming him with crappy, you know, offers to write crappy content, and, you know, he put a fork in it, and everybody just kept yammering about that, and I applauded it. I said, "Yay, Matt!" You know.
This is how bad things have got. I got 5 emails this morning to SEO pros. 3 of them were people trying to sell content.
Yeah, I mean, they're
content, you know.
they've got courses on how to, you know, how to approach somebody to get on their site. You know, I mean, I've seen the courses and in the Blogger Mastermind, they yammer about them, but God, I still think the best way is get to know somebody, read their, you know, stuff on their site, leave meaningful, useful comments, and maybe develop a relationship with them. Maybe, you know.
Well,
Nothing.
it'd be pretty hard to develop a relationship with everybody who was sending these emails because they would have been sleeping when I'm normally working.
Yeah, the ones that I find the most amusing are the offers to fix SEO on my site that come from a Gmail account with no reference website for me to review. It's just like, really? You want to cold call me an email on my contact form? Get out of my face.
Or how about we check some keywords and the ones we picked you're not ranking for?
Big
well,
deal.
How do you know what I'm fucking targeting? Who the fuck are you? You know.
Yeah, those generic SEO ones just drive me out of my mind. It's just, and they always use a contact form, so I can't just blacklist their IP. Because I can't shut down my own contact form.
Yeah, but it's stuff like that is why SEOs have a bad name. I mean, seriously. You get a constant stream of that in your email box, and that's what people think all of us are like.
I know.
Marge, you've got to trap their IP in the contact form, so that the contact form is sending you the IP to block. And then you just block it at the site, and they can't use that contact form anymore.
I'd use the whole range though, Ammon, because a lot of times they're going to have a handful.
Oh, I've blocked entire ranges. Funny enough, most of them seem to come either from India or Russia. But yeah, I've blocked entire ISPs before now.
Or they're using some,
Not unusual to see
email.com,
China either.
a non-real email address. I don't know. It's just annoying. It's just one of my pet peeves. There's nothing I can really do about it, or nothing that I care to invest the kind of time it would take to really fix it. It's random. Oh, sorry. It's Friday.
Sorry,
Thank
folks, but
goodness.
I'm going to have to bail. I've got another call coming up here in a few minutes. So.
Yeah, I'm going to have to bail too.
Everybody have a good day and a great weekend.
You too.
Don't let your boat sink.
Bill, I hope I get it right.
Bill, you had a little get together yesterday, didn't you?
Yes,
Your doctor was telling me.
No.
Or when was it, Bill?
Next Tuesday.
Oh, it's next.
What's the
Tuesday.
occasion?
Oh, he's having a meetup of some kind.
I'm a co-administrator of the Lotica San Diego Semantic Web Meetup, and we're having a presentation next Tuesday. And I'm going to speak.
Where?
It's in Del Rey.
Oh, Del Rey. Okay.
Yeah.
It might not be that far away. Who knows? I mean, you're quite a ways away from me, actually, where you live now. As the crow flies.
Well, it's not that far. I drove up to San Clemente on Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's surrounded by the military base, but there was like no traffic. I thought it was odd.
It's the drones, man. They were clearing the road for you.
San Clemente. That's where they sent Nixon when he was a bad guy.
Yeah, there's a border patrol building along that Pacific Highway there, and they get everybody to stop, and they like wave you through.
If you don't look Hispanic, yes.
You don't look Hispanic, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They used to stop long hairs in at the Tijuana border. If your hair was too long, they'd make you turn around and go back to the U.S.
Wow.
I had the Cheech Marin song, "Born in West L.A." or East LA.
Oh, that's funny.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God. 50-something humor, huh? I thought it was East LA, though. Never mind.
Yeah, it's East LA, yeah.
Oh, God. California has its own cultures, and there are so many sub-pockets of, California oddness. But
Oh, yeah.
the thing that I marveled most at when I first moved here, and I don't know if you've observed this up in Carlsbad yet, but everybody has sparkles on their jeans and their toes and their, their purses and.
What
like,
part are you?
I'm in San Diego.
People wear sparkles.
Yeah, they wear sparkly stuff, and it's just like, oh, really? Okay, now I got to get sparkly. I mean, I came from Minnesota where in the winter you wore a sweater to cover things up, and I don't have that advantage anymore.
Like a Twilight brand vampire or something?
Yeah, well, they just have rhinestones all over everything. You got sparkly pockets and sparkly shoes, and it's just an oddness, But
I think there are a couple dance clubs around here that I haven't been into yet that may endorse the wearing of sparkles, but.
Oh my goodness.
And I think the weirdest thing I saw, when I first saw it here, some woman walking around with a damn chihuahua in her purse. I went, what? Apparently that makes her look more wealthy.
And this is in San Diego?
Yes, ma'am.
Place has gone to hell.
I was warned. I was warned that people were more into, more like that here, but I didn't see it because I had family here, so now I see it because I'm day to day.
Terry? Yeah, here's your Google search news for the day. And you'll enjoy this one because it's got one of my favorite words in it. Our good friend Barry Schwartz is reporting that Google is to confirm the next update or refresh of Penguin, meaning they actually haven't even confirmed anything this time. Apparently what is news is that they're going to. And here's the phrase I like. Google's John Mueller implied.
Oh, great. That's open to interpretation.
There we go. This is what passes for news in our.
So the news is there might be news. That's helpful.
That reminds me of the Monty Python sketch, nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was followed with a does she go, Terry?
So yes, the one sentence in this piece of news is that John Mueller said in a Google Hangout, someone asked about Google announcing the next Penguin. John said, "I don't think we pre-announce it, but if it's something bigger than that happens that people will have been waiting for, we will try to confirm it." And this is fucking news. Wow.
So
What's the Yoda quote?
Saying
Do
is
or
they
do
may
not?
or may not talk about it.
Yes, they may or may not talk about it.
Real useful stuff, that.
Wow, dude.
John was always
I love
more of
Barry,
a
but I'm
straight
a-
talker back in his days when he was with Creative Site Forums, where he left to join Google. He didn't imply things like that. He just came out and said things were the way they were.
Well, I know, and he's handcuffed by that. That's what I was saying. Like, I was talking to John, and I was asking him literally, how does it feel to be the new Matt Cutts, and everything that comes out of your mouth, people are going to go this way and that way and this way and that way. It's like, oh my God.
9 ways from Sunday.
But it was a public hangout, so he just kind of laughed. All right, we'll leave it at that.
Well, people have to have something to be upset about.
I thought he kind of thought it was funny the way everybody, took what he said apart. Like, oh, he took a breath between words here. That must mean something.
He's the voice of Google now to the SEO world because Matt.
Well, I think that's the way it's starting to look, like he's taken over from Matt.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's why I was saying it to him, man. Because obviously, you know what I mean. He's learned already that if he breathes one way or the other, because it was all over that. What was it, Terry? At the time, it was the the getting out a penguin thing with new links, and he mumbled something one week and then mumbled something the next week, and I think everyone was like here and there. It was like, oh my God, people.
You can get out of Penguin without disavowing all your links.
Right. Yes, that was the one. Yeah, that's where everyone went fucking mental.
Link building is overrated.
Yeah, because you've got to be fact building.
Yeah,
that's right.
Links are overrated.
What are you thinking? Like, I swear to God, Rand has people repurposing that LDA tool right now. I swear to God. I'm gonna email Dr. Pete. I'm gonna email Dr. Pete and go, really, seriously, dude, tell me it's true. You gotta be. I know you guys are.
I tweeted the fact-based trust paper, and somebody responded to me saying, "Uh-oh, the black hats are gonna get that." I'm thinking, what are they gonna do? Fill the web with lies?
Until it's a fact.
Yeah, well, David, I'm sure that Schwartz's news will get your attention when they talk about LSI.
No, they never. He wouldn't go there. I'd have to hurt him. But but build like the LDA tool that they had would scrape the top, whatever 10 results and look for common words and so on and so on, right? Semantic, relevance. And then give you back a bunch of semantic relevance to use when you create your copy. So all that you got to turn that into now is that it's going to spin the content for you, take the facts off of Wikipedia, spin them into some of its own words, and you put that on your page.
That's my new tool. Me and Dave were talking about. We want to make a fact spinner.
Fact spinner.
That's the next SEO tool.
Coming from the SEO dojo at some point, folks. But yeah, we're going to create a fact spinner, dude. That's it. It's the new thing.
Knowledge base?
You're going to start a real fact company.
Uh-huh. Just thinking about, somebody also asked me, how do you come up with a knowledge base of facts about SEO? Because you guys all make that stuff up anyway.
Well, that's it. It's a black box. What are the facts?
Verified?
Oh, verified, true. I'm sure, like laws in other places and search engine land. I mean, all those must be facts, right?
Search engine journal? Come on, it's in Google News. God, search engine journal's got to be one of the top references on the web. And I mean that facetiously, folks, by the way.
You have to qualify it.
For sure. Heaven forbid someone go there and start reading. It would take years to undo the damage.
Start reading, Terry? Is that what you said? Well, don't you know that you got to do everything in a video now because people don't like to read anymore?
Oh, well,
You've heard that one too, right?
yeah, I might have said it. We don't mind reading, but I'm telling you, kids don't want to read stuff.
Isn't that how deep learning supposedly works?
Isn't that how what supposedly works?
Deep learning? Google starts reading web pages and looks for common features and tries to verify them based on common features. It's supposed to work just like the brain does.
I think we just need to have jacks installed in our body and plug into the internet at night and be educated while we sleep.
Ah.
I missed this. Did Google find out how the human brain works? Oh, okay.
It's in their fact.
Fuck all those neuroscientists that still haven't figured it out. Google apparently has. I think they're just gonna, come on. They've got their cloning programs, their DNA programs. As we joked about on the show a couple of weeks ago, they're just gonna create their own users from now on.
About 10 pages or so in Ray Kurzweil's latest book, The Shape of Minds, where he talks about how neurons learn. And yeah, that is the deep learning approach. It's supposedly based upon how we think brains work.
It's talking about the theory of how neurons work, though.
Well, I was about to say that's why I like Bill, because he said supposedly.
Yeah, we know very little. We don't know enough about our own brains. That's the good news.
Well, this is exactly it, and there's quite a few of the papers on AI that one of the reasons it's so fascinating is we don't know how our own brains work. So some of the research may help us by trying to get machines to do it. It may help us understand. Unless
of course some guy who might actually be right doesn't get surfaced in Google because it's all about facts, not links. See, we're coming back to this again. So now that obscure guy who might actually have it doesn't agree with the rest of the common thought process in his field about it, he will not get surfaced or noticed.
Well, this is why that, is never going to be a major algorithm. The example I used earlier, you remember a few years ago when they finally said, right, Pluto, it's always been a planet. Well, it isn't a planet. Well, the knowledge base would have had Pluto is a planet.
Yeah.
So every news site and every scientist would have been thrown out the results. What do you mean planetoid? No, it's a planet. Those are all wrong facts.
Right, because the facts that correlate all say opposite, so now that valuable piece of knowledge won't be surfaced, and that's probably the risk,
And this is the problem, is that if somebody cures cancer, we all know that cancer is incurable, therefore the cure for cancer is out there, but the knowledge-based trust has just dismissed it. We can't find it.
And that is problematic in the sense that,
it says verified by Encyclopedia Britannica.
Is that still published?
I think so.
Online, I believe. Well, I think they also sell the research to other, encyclopedia generators, but. Yeah, I don't think they really do much in the hard copy.
I would have just sold the whole thing to Wikipedia, lock, stock, and barrel, and be done with it. There you go.
What would Wikipedia do with actual data?
Exactly.
You ever see the commercial where it shows a baby pushing the button? And some guy on the other end opens it up and says, "Hey, we're live again," and they start making all these books, and then it shows at the end a baby sitting there on the internet. Funny as hell.
Or a cat. Never mind, I'm kidding. Or you maybe Doc's wife throwing water on the keyboard. That was so funny that day in the chat, where all of a sudden all this garbage starts coming through. Hey, cat got the keyboard, Doc. He's not here to defend himself.
And for those of you listening, watching, or via the podcast or wherever, I believe Ammon has finally cracked the code, and it's unwelt. What the fuck is that word? Anyways, I'm gonna have to Google that.
General
Anyways,
feeling.
all right, so apparently the way the algorithm is currently working is facts, unwelt, citations, inbound trust, known as fuck it.
This is a technical term. Wait.
And
Is that
I think
worse?
we've got to have knowledge base just after citations as well.
now, if I go publish an article about this new theory of yours on search engine land, Bill writes about it as some research paper he found. Will that become a fact?
It might.
I guess it will. We just
I'll
have to get the word
hashtag
out in
it
the right
too.
appropriate places. Oh yeah, yes. Don't forget
Mike
the
Google's
hashtag.
been
Definitely.
citing stuff I write is in the news. It might be.
Yes, because we need our news box as well while we're at it, of course.
I don't know. Maybe this whole, fact verification issue is a good thing, because I have seen a lot of garbage on
Well,
there.
no,
I have
no,
some.
no. I have no problems with the theories, Marge.
Yeah.
It's the perception of these things in the SEO community, which is essentially always the same thing. Give me a big red fucking button. Let me push a button and rank my pages, as opposed to actually thinking deeply about various algorithms and satisfying them based upon your market, based upon your needs, mobile or local-wise, etc. There's just all these other things that the rest of us have to actually do to make a living. The problem is so many people want this Whiteboard Friday push a button shit, that
I was thinking more
if a
about
client questions it, you can just send them a link and say, "Well, no, Rand Fishkin said this, so it must be true."
I was thinking more about the consumer side of it, how people will just land on the first link and this must be true. It's on the internet. So
No, but that's always been the case, though. You know what I mean? You
I
look
know.
at any kind of click bias study. How many people are literally getting to fucking page 2? Not that many. So that mentality's always kind of been there.
I
And so
understand that.
that's a buyer beware thing. Consumers, and all of us that have children need to educate our kids about the internet. So the next generation people that come on the internet are like they're off the internet. Don't trust everything you hear. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's why I think that, Google kind of trying to clean this up is not a completely bad idea. So yes, I realize it's always been there. I've fielded it.
My kid could do a paper for school. My kid could do a paper for school and hop onto Google and pick the first 3 results, and they're probably going to get a good mark. You know why? In my mind, because the teacher's probably doing that to get his facts too to grade the paper. The teacher himself isn't clicking through to page 2 and fucking double checking every fact. No, he's just like trusting Google blindly and stuffing it in. And so as my kid does, he'll come up with the right information, which is kind of stupid.
Or making sure that the content just isn't regurgitated garbage, like the author is credible, as I alluded to earlier on the Reader's Digest thing. I mean, if you
fact checking in general in human nature is no longer there. People trust things. People trust the internet. People Google stuff, and that's just a matter of education, I think, over time. And I don't know if we'll ever get there. How many people are out protesting about stuff that they know nothing about? That they have very little understanding of economics and all the factors that lie behind the story. They just grab their pickets and go out because they love to fucking picket shit.
Right.
Now I've got
Just described all social media. Isn't that what it's about?
Now David is earworming with an old Buffalo Springfield song. Carrying signs mostly say "Hooray for my sign."
Yeah. Signs everywhere, signs.
But
so I think that's a societal thing that the world has turned. Google didn't make itself a verb. People did. No one says. We used to say I'm going to go. I'll search the internet, or I'm going to go. People just say Google it now, and it's a generational thing that's going to continue, and it's become a verb. So is this Google's fault or is this society's fault? I think to a degree, people are, again, not even SEOs, the rest of the world, are lazy to the degree they want answers with a push button as opposed to actually doing the work to put in to find out the right answers. They'd rather just push a button. So I think there's a societal fucking issue to be made as far as, how this power got where it is.
It's sounding a little bit like the argument that Google is making us stupider.
Well, yeah, no, I remember that article. It was a year ago, year and a half, whenever that was. And I believe in that to a degree, sure. You
It's
know,
not new though. In
no,
any
this isn't.
course, it
Like
was
how
taught
many kids
in.
want to go to the library? Back in my day, dude, I would go to the library. I spent so much time of my life in libraries.
I
I
love
mean,
them.
I
I'm even
love
going back.
libraries.
Books
You
are
go,
making people stupider. Wait.
when you were at school, your teacher would be teaching from 2 or 3 textbooks, and it was well known that they might not be right, and that's why they told you those textbooks. You go on to college and university, they tell you which books are required, not because they are known to be true, but because that's the version of the facts they're going to be using when they judge you.
Right, right. That's the curriculum. The curriculum is based upon that set of knowledge, as
Exactly.
opposed to a wide.
He's frozen again.
But
It's a great
okay,
expression
so
on
now
his
it's
face.
it's Wikipedia and Google and 3 other, but it was always just 3 sources that may or may not be right. So I don't
Yeah,
think it's changed anything.
Doc and I always talk about the ability to think critically about information that you're taking in, and not everybody has even the interest in thinking, critically about what they've read. They'll just, oh, I read it, so it's true. It's just like, no, let's think this through. Does it apply to you? Is it a credible source? I don't know. I prefer to read over watching videos for that reason because, I can take a look at the text and I can analyze it critically. And
I believe I prefer not only to read. I prefer just to think for myself, which means I need a bunch of viewpoints to figure out what I
there you
think
go.
and what I
Me
believe.
too.
You know what I mean? So.
I don't just take one article. I'll look at several and kind of, cobble together my thoughts on it.
Yeah, and that's all you can do in life, no? You know?
Yeah.
Which is something that
I'm a guy who I have a deep passion for history, and so I like one of my hobbies over the years is studying history. And if you study history, so many great thinkers were never believed at first, and it took sideways thinking to get to the root of a problem or to get an answer. So yeah.
One of my favorite quotes about history is from the book 1984, History Belongs to Those Who Write It.
Well, is there an even older one, which is history is written by the winners? Meaning,
I had
never heard
I don't want to
that.
get. What's that, dude?
I had a class in college where the history professor started off, the very first day's lecture was, history is written from the perspective of the winners. Over the course of the time period we're looking at, that's rich white men. If you want to learn about the slaves and the women and the children, take a different class. That's how he started his class.
Wow.
And then he followed that up with, if you don't like it, I've got 10, go away. He was an awesome professor.
Well, at least he was open. Yeah, I mean, at least he...
History has been written by those with interests and those with the ability to get knowledge out there. So.
I mean, I don't know. History is fascinating to me too, David.
And I don't mean to use my rudest example, but my rudest example is always simple when I'm dealing with hardcore Christians that, that want to bitch about the Holocaust. Nothing against Hitler, he was an asshole, but there was this thing called the Spanish Inquisition for a couple hundred years. So.
Yeah, our European ancestors weren't all that kind to the natives either.
And while I agree with you there, holding historical actions to current moral standards is a really bad way to view history.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. No, of course. No, my point is I see things equally.
But that's what people do today. They're saying, well, we have to understand the radical ISIS Islamic movement because Crusades. It's like, well
that doesn't make sense.
1,000 years ago was a completely different world.
Yeah.
And even that's not entirely historically accurate, but that's okay. It just frustrates me when people try to apply the standards of today to historical actions.
Yeah, like Google judging you for links you did 5 years ago when it was okay.
There you go.
It's our favorite, Ammon. Do you remember when the Google Webmaster Guidelines? Steve and I have been trying to dig up old versions of it in the web archive, and we're still having problems, but we'll get there. Remember when they used to tell you to put it in relevant directories and stuff like that? Google's
links with other webmasters.
You know, and I remember talking to Matt one time, via email, and we were talking about this one site, and I swear to God, Eamon, he goes, "Oh, I remember these guys. This is one of Jim Boykin's people, right?" I was like, "Oh God, this conversation's not going to go well." But yeah, he pulled up shit from '06. You know what I mean? But again, it highlights that Google has that long memory, right?
Oh yeah.
And the problem that Steve and I often have is that you need a grandfathering when you change your algorithms, when you change your spam busting, when you start to, there has to be some grandfathering, because even you guys used to advise certain things that you no longer advise. But you can't punish us for something that you advised in '06, '07. Like, come on, man. And Matt literally cited stuff from '06. And I was like, oh, man, are you serious?
Yeah, it's just it's staggeringly frustrating.
I think sometimes, though, what they were looking at, even with that timelining, is were you going right to the edge? Were you pushing the envelope by those standards?
Oh, no, of course. That's why you mentioned,
history of always, just towing that line, they're going to be a little bit more suspicious than somebody who is... It's deprecated now, but they were within the guidelines
but
of
again,
the day.
I think there needs to be some gradation. I certainly hope that whatever Matt was pulling up with his tools is not how the algorithms are working, because if you're punishing people from shit they did in '06 and '07, when you said, hey, this is okay, before you change your verbiage, then I think you need to grandfather that, and say, what have they done the last 2 years or something? I mean, let's not penalize them for shit.
Like you said, this is Matt looking back at 2000. What, you think he doesn't remember what the guidelines were? So, the judgment is there. That's what I'm saying. He knew whether that was legit or not in 2006.
Well, yeah, that's when Jim had approached him at a conference and brought it up to him and da-da-da. And when I talked to him, it was like a year ago. So we're talking 6, 7 years, whatever.
Yeah.
And he still remembered Jim talking to him about it. It was like...
I mean, can you imagine how WebRing would be viewed in today's algorithm? I mean, that's how everybody got the word out about their website in the original phase. Was you signed up for a WebRing of similar content, and now it would be seen as an automated link scheme.
Oh yeah.
After WebRings, it was directories. Before Hilltop too, and Florida Update, we were like, when I started, there weren't that many search engines. Most of what I did was submission to all these little directories. It had nothing to do with ranking. It was all about...
No, we wanted their traffic. We wanted their traffic, dude.
Right.
That's why we did it, right?
That's how you got visibility in the old days.
But we've still got web rings, but we've got the legit form, which is called a blog roll, and we've got the illegit form, which is when it's automated.
I don't know the last time I've seen a blog roll on somebody's website.
There's still a few around, not many.
Other than my bloggers.
Yeah, they're the guys who didn't get Google's memorandum that they didn't want to see those anymore.
But you still do see, the same sites linking to each other.
You might see them on recipe blogs. I see them a lot on recipe blogs, people that publish content about cooking. They like to link to their favorite cooks.
A lot of those people are not professionals. They're amateurs who are interested in food, and they write about it. I wouldn't say those are professionally promoted.
Yeah, those are foodies. We like foodies. That's a word that was in that thing, Kristen. The banished words.
Yep.
What, foodie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of goes up there with like the porn. Like I was glad I didn't see that one. I'm hoping it's because they have already gone over it.
I don't know. I mean, blog rolls, when people want to, hey, give me a link to your blog and I'll put it in my blog roll, I'd say thanks, but no thanks. I was doing that in 2009 because their site, I didn't trust their site. I didn't want my site linked to from it.
Yeah, but on the opposite side, you know what I mean, when some of these whatever memos went out, like Terry's talking about, I didn't give a shit because I was linking to Bill's blog. I was linking to Search Engine Land. My blog roll, which I call Trusted Sources or whatever, You know, I mean, I'm still linking out to things I think are of value for my fucking user. I don't give a shit at the end of the day. You know, I mean, I'm kind of with Steve over the years on a lot of this stuff that if I think it's good for my users, but it's against Google's rules, they can go fuck themselves. You know?
But is it in your sidebar and therefore showing up on every page of your site? Just a question.
Like I haven't touched Search New Central in ages because I had to get out on with my life. But you know, I mean, no matter what happened over there, I still had clean followed links to all my authors, to everything else, and da da da. Google never spanked that thing once. Still hasn't. You know what I mean? It's still getting the same amount of Google traffic every month, and da da da. Nothing changed.
Was
Now,
that
all
an
these,
answer to my
all
question?
these. No, but all these publishers that no, I was talking more towards Terry was saying with the Google advised shit and everyone freaked out. Meaning like Search Engine Watch, Journal, and everyone who fucking stopped giving links to the authors and stuff like that. I still don't buy into that this is a great risk. I do buy into the fact in my mind that some of the publishers thought, I know follow these, I'll keep more fucking juice on my site. We'll just tell them it's because of Google. You know, oh, we love you, authors, but unfortunately we can't link to you anymore because Google told us not to. Meanwhile, someone in the back room's going, hey man, we'll keep more juice on the site. What the fuck? You know?
Exactly. The whole thing they should have done is look at the applications of Google itself and said, well, look, social networks, you have a profile, you can have links on a profile. So when
I think even more so, Evan.
Directly in every single article they do, every article should link to their profile, and their profile should link to whatever they need it to link to.
Or they should have some fucking balls and just email Matt or somebody over there and say, hey, listen, is this okay? That's all I did. You know,
I'm sure Matt loves when everyone starts emailing him. I'm certain he prioritises that in his day.
Well, no. When I approached Matt with it because back in the day, you remember when fucking WidgetGate went.
It's different for you. You're his mate, but thousands of webmasters every day.
You're telling me Lauren Baker.
I don't understand.
You tell me Lauren or Danny or someone couldn't fucking email them. You tell me someone from Search Engine Watch couldn't talk to Matt on a personal level over me? Fuck that. I'm not that close to me. Yeah. I'm sure they could have. Okay, they just bailed the other way without ever checking it out.
Oh yeah.
And when I talked to Matt about it, it was basically, remember WidgetGate, when the widgets were a thing and da da da. He basically said the same advice holds true. If your author bio, if your people writing for you is linked to their brand, okay, you're good. No worries. If it's a keyword, if it's SEO services or something like that, if it's fucking term targeted, you might get an issue. So I told my authors that. Simple enough. Your bio, we're going to change it to link to your company with your brand name, entity, blah, 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 end of story, have a nice day. There is no risk in doing that. But all these fucking sites just arbitrarily stopped giving their authors fucking bio links and everything else that might give them something back for their fucking effort. And that's bullshit. I don't believe in that, man. I think they fucking bailed to keep the juice internal. That's my personal belief on why places like those started doing it, including Danny. And I like Danny, but I still think that's a bad fucking move. Give your authors something, man. And we all know what's happening, but so what? So does Google. And like I said, I talked to them, and as long as their brand links, no big shit. Yeah. But they fucking no-followed everyone and told them to take links out of their bios and everything else. Like, go fuck yourself.
Well, this is it. And I mean, it was after that I had a big conversation with Carlos because we were setting up this Suzy. How do we handle, the writers' links? Because we were opening that up for, pure guest blogging and yeah.
It's an issue, but if it's a fucking targeted link, you might have an issue as a publisher. And essentially, if it's just like the widget stuff, even because I asked him about infographics. Another buddy of mine came to me, and he specializes in infographics, and he's like, some of my clients are getting issues, this and that, da da da. And I said, fine, you know what I mean? The rules are simple. You know how it goes. If I open this up to Matt, you're putting yourself at risk. And they said, sure, and don't show them the evidence. And I said, fine. So, and the same thing. He says, as long as those infographics aren't embedded with a targeted link, just like WidgetGate, you're good to go. It's when you start fucking embedding fucking targeted anchors into those that you don't know. And he also said that it depends where they get picked up, and that's the risk you always run with a fucking infographic, right? Is that remember, Terry, it's location, 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 like the brownies, just like the brownies, right? And so, yeah, mommy bloggers, he basically said if you end up on a site with that infographic and your targeted link, that one article's about fucking duct tape and the next one's about jewelry, you could have a problem, and you're opening yourself up to that by putting out an infographic. But the best you can do to minimize that risk is to make sure that any links you have in that embed code is brand name, not fucking targeted anchors, you know? So. Anyways, I just think some of the publishers in our industry either A, were ignorant and didn't know any better and hadn't reached out to Google or whatever, or B, they realized that by no following these fucking links or not allowing any links to author bios, they could keep some of their juice internally. I think it was
in the SEO world? No, surely not.
So I think some of them made a very conscious decision to do that, man, and that's what pissed me off. Because Mike Gran was that search engine watch at the time, and fucking, you know, you got Danny obviously, and you've got Lauren. There's no way that if Matt, and there's no way they don't have his email. You know, there's no way that if one of those three guys had emailed Matt would have got the straight goods and you know, made the same decision I did, you know, which was to keep clean links and fucking just make them change what the anchor text is. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally believe they just decided that they could lean on Google's back to make an excuse for their own, what we used to call it, page rank hoarding. So.
But, you know, it's one of those issues that every SEO has to deal with, and there's going to be thousands of times when you're dealing with it. You know, these are the little decisions that every site faces sooner or later, and you make a good call on it. But obviously, some of them put their business into that, and yeah, it's what suits us, and it becomes almost like the never link out stuff of the old make your site sell of you know, never put a link out on your site. And
I always think it's 50-50.
Any link on your site, no follow it, because you don't want to leak any juice to anybody else.
Yeah, and I think that's 50-50. That to a degree, there's the worry about linking out to bad sources, and to a degree, there's a bit of page rank hoarding going on. You know, I still believe that. Like, you know, you look at the Wall Street Journal or fucking New York Times when they started changing all that. You know, I think there was someone. It wasn't, you know, on its bare-faced surface. I don't think it was always just, oh, we're worried about Google spanking us. I think there was somebody in the back room going, you know, we could also hoard page rank by doing this, so why not?
I always think that Google should look at a site, and if you know the majority of its links are untrusted, they're no follows, it should discount most of the links on that site.
Thresholds, baby. I'm with you. Like whenever I write a news story, and I was like,
always should be no followed, because anybody can leave a comment. But if you don't trust your guest authors, and yet you're still
publishing there in the first
stuff,
you don't
why
trust them in the first place.
Yeah,
exactly. Why are they there in the fucking first place?
So if you're no following all the links in an article, then that site should be basically downgraded, because it obviously has no regard for its writers. It's not interested in the quality. It has no trust in the authors.
Yeah, whenever I'd write something on SNC back in the day that was about a negative story, like the Borker affair, Terry, or something like that, you know, I would manually go in and no-follow those links, because I don't want to be associated with that motherfucker. So, you know, I mean, I would do it on a, but yeah, normally all links are followed. Anything like that, when one of my writers or anyone else, if they were writing about something saying this asshole over here link, I'd go in and manually throw a no-follow on that. You know, I mean, as opposed to systemically throwing no-follows on everything. You know what I mean? Because I you know, and especially author bios. If you, like you just said, man, if you've got someone writing for you that you don't trust, why the fuck are they writing for you?
Yeah, exactly. You know, what does it say about your content, your value as a content provider in the first place if you're letting monkeys you don't trust write? And I mean,
Steve, what was it for? Originally, no-follow was for paid links, wasn't it, Steve? And then it became trusted sources.
And I remember quite clearly when they said it was to differentiate paid links from everything else, that we said that day they were going to use it for everything else.
Right, and then the story after that became trusted sources.
For paid links. No. It wasn't for paid links. It was for comment spam.
Yeah.
It was so that people could put it on their blogs for comment spam. And we said that wasn't where it was going to stop. And it didn't. It just took off. And now people put no follow on everything because they're afraid of Google. And if Google is smart enough to tell you which links they don't like so they can penalize you, they're smart enough to just not count them.
Back in the day of Creator Site, I mean,
Ammon,
that was before we
Ammon,
had no photos.
Just before we go, Evan, if you need a bogus teammate, I'll be there for you, man.
Yeah,
You know
jump
where to
in.
find me. You know where to find me.
Yeah, cool.
We'll both come. We'll tag team you.
Oh, wow, that is just wrong.
That's
bro.
just seriously wrong. Unless that means
Hey,
something
you
different.
have a hot dog, Ammon. A little mustard on my hot dog there.
My gosh.
Oh, no friends.
On that note, let me go right back to Creator Site. When we had that, this was before the big worry about, you know, no following and all the rest of it, but it was after we knew about bad neighborhoods. So every link on that form went through a jump script, where the jump script was blocked itself, the script page was blocked by the robots text, and we obfuscated the link. So even though it went to jump script and then had the URL, we reversed the URL.
Google would never not take that directive.
It showed that we weren't passing link juice. That was the thing. It wasn't that there was no way Google could do it.
Yeah.
But we'd done it so that everything was there as a strong signal that we didn't want Google to view this as a trusted link. And we had to take out, originally, you know, it just passed the full URL parameters to the jump script. We reversed it because people were still finding it when they were doing backlink checks. You know, links that contain their domain name. Oh, up it comes, even though the link wasn't followed, even though it couldn't be followed. There were levels of obfuscation to it, but we had to do that because, after all, people often come to the forum to ask why their site has been penalised, and there it is in their signature, or they'd be linking to it in regard to, you know, can you tell me what's wrong with my site? So we needed to do that, and also we'd be talking about bad schemes and all kinds of things. So
Yeah, when Google announced the no follow, they said then that if you were using URL forwarding, it did the same thing as no follow.
Yeah.
To me, it's an even stronger signal. You're right that you're no follow. You know, you're taking it a step further.
Yeah.
You're basically hiding the link from them.
exactly, and that's it. You know, if you're worried about the kind of links that are going in, you know, if it's blog comments or whatever, it's user generated. If you want to really protect it, have all the links go to a redirect, have the redirect blocked by the robots text, have embedded, you know, if you don't use a direct 3.0 whatever redirect, then what you can do is you can put a page in there with a refresh, and then you can no index and no follow meta tag that refresh page as well, so that before it refreshes, it's giving another signal to the search engine, even if it's not being able to get the robots text. If it's got the page, it knows not to follow it, and just all of those things.
Yeah, URL forwarding, use 302 response code. That's why it's favored by Google.
Yeah. Of course, the problem with that was when they had the 302 bug, which is why, you know.
Then there's that. Because a lot of what they found were, a lot of that stuff was coming from third-party sites that were using that URL forwarding. You're right. I still
see issues occasionally in Google reporting bad links, where it's going through a 302 or it's going through a jump script somewhere, and of course that's not the link that Google's regarding as bad. It's reporting the original, or it's reporting the jump, and it's not there. You know, you can't remove the link from a jump script because it's not in the jump script, it's in the page that sent it.
Right.
Very hard to disavow those kind of things without disavowing the entire jump script domain.
Yeah. Well, generally, too, you'd have multiple links going to that same page, right? Usually it was one script page, like something index.php, for instance. And so it looked like every site every link on the site was pointing at the same page.
Yeah. some of the people that are trying to do negative SEO with, spamming bad links, that's exactly what they're doing. Is they're also finding 301 redirects to bung it through, 302 redirects to bung it through, finding anybody's jump script that's open to coding and doing it that way. Because it makes it a nightmare to track down the original bad link.
Cycle it through a bunch of 301s and 02s to kind of clean it, eh?
Yeah.
And the last quote that we care about is the
Google detects that it's from the bad place originally to your site through a redirect, but all your tools are reporting is where the redirect's coming from. You can't find the original link. And sometimes what you're getting as well is that Google's reporting that those redirects to the bad link, which you can't remove them from, it's not telling you where the original link. Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Hi, Kristen. You're looking thoughtful there.
I'm just listening to what you're saying. This is all like a lot of it's above my head, so I'm taking it in.
Well, that's because you're short.
Could be.
So, have you dealt with any SEO issues with your own blog yet? Have you really started to get to grips with that?
No, not yet. I've got that social warfare plugin from Jason, and I haven't learned how to use it yet, so I don't want to like waste it. Like, have you played around with it at all?
I've certainly seen it and looked at it.
Like, what do you think?
It's about getting the social value. It's not necessarily about SEO.
Okay.
Hey, Dave, guess what I heard too? You're going to love this. OpenCart has major mobile issues. Dave's not listening.
Yeah, no, he's chatting away. But yeah, the OpenCart's had some issues in the past, and yeah, mobile is one of them.
Yeah, I don't think it's responsive. That's part of the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a lot of people on that cart.
There's a lot of people that are really jumping over, oh, Google's rewarding mobile sites. And look, if your site isn't geared for mobile, then that's a market you're not getting. So whether or not you show up in mobile search is not a bad thing to not show up in mobile search when you can't serve them. You're still going to be getting all of the desktop users. It's not changing the desktop search. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of people who, look, if you've got a site that's full of PDFs you want people to download, they're not going to do that on a cell phone anyway.
Right.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. But it does remove, like in the one client's case, every page on OpenCart was listed as a mobile issue. Well, 1,900 pages. Really not worth my time to fix it.
No. But then to an extent, shouldn't the cart be blocked anyway? You don't want people jumping into the cart.
Yeah, but how do you block?
I don't know index that in the first place, probably.
There is a separate mobile bot, so I guess I could block it from there, eh? Yeah, that's what I'll do, but they're not going to be happy when, you look and see that, half their search is being done on mobile. That's almost a case of, well, let's go back to less products and, make a mobile.
If you've got one feature of the site that doesn't work on mobile, something like that, most people aren't going to fill in shopping carts anyway on a mobile phone because it's a nightmare to be doing on a tiny screen anyway. So that's one of the things that you use your CSS anyway to detect what screen size they're coming in on, what kind of device. I'd strip that out anyway. I'd have that not appearing in the first place.
Their site is mainly, they're like a print shop, like printer servicing. So they go in and fix copiers and printers. Most of theirs is lead gen anyhow. They have all the products so people know they have the parts to fix the machines, right?
Yeah.
Well, and they have a lot of parts that I don't think anyone else has too. They've been a service depot, like for as long as I've been working for them. They were one of my first clients. So
I think a lot of the time, you know, there's a lot of there's a lot of sites where their approach to mobile needs to be to get rid of some of their contact forms and stuff like that and replace it with a click-to-call button.
yeah,
Because that's the most convenient thing to do when you're on the phone and you want to take it further, is call somebody.
yeah. Or you make your make an app where they just search for a product there, and it tells them if they have the product and gives them a click-to-call button, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of the time, a lot of responsive design is very badly done, and it's like sticking a band-aid on a broken leg. You know, you haven't changed the fact that this doesn't function the way somebody on a cell phone is going to want to use the site.
Right. Well, I also found that a lot of links don't work properly. Responsive doesn't automatically put the proper coding around a link to make sure it's going to work in all the smartphones.
Yeah.
So, you know, you actually have to code that link differently than others. So, you know, for some people, it's going to be an issue.
Yeah. Dave looks like he's singing.
Yeah, I play guitar and I sing and stuff. So my daughter was asking me about a song, so I'm just singing it with her. My daughter and I sing together. It's awesomely fun. So yes, I am.
Well, you're not going to, put it out on YouTube as your latest release, Dave.
The underground recording.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to head off myself in a little while because it's getting to that time to eat. But, yeah, good chat.
Is that a special program you have, Eamon, for your background?
Is what?
Is that a special?
No, he's got a green screen. He's got a green screen, dude, and his camera supports green screens. So
yeah.
Oh, okay.
My daughter was asking about it. My daughter went, "Is he sitting outside?" No. You just green screened us.
Yeah, I just like messing with people. That's all. It looks
like I looked at it and I said, "There's fucking smoke moving there. It does look live."
Yeah.
The way the wind blows the canvas and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, this one is a cinematograph. You know, one of the GIFs, the animated GIFs.
Those are cool.
Yeah.
Have you made one yet?
All right, man.
Done a few. Anyway, take care, guys.
Yeah, have a good weekend. Like I said, if Bill's busy on Tuesday, hit us up, man. You know where to find us.
Yeah. Well, you're always welcome anyway. Anytime there's free seats, jump on in.
All right, man. So, yeah, just remind us. We're old, you know. The memory goes, dude. So just hit us up Tuesday morning like you usually do and say, what are you doing
Take care, guys. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
And to our 5 viewers, I'm saying good afternoon since there's only 5 of you, or 3 left now. Yeah, okay. So we're going to go off the air now. The link's there if anyone wants to join. I don't know if we're going to be here long because I got March break on my hands.